Hi friends, welcome to That Kid of Mine Thursday. Yeah, we love them, don't we? This is Angie Hernandez, certified hypnotherapist from the Indiana Hypnosis Center, where bad habits don't have to last forever. Get rid of those bad habits with hypnosis. Maybe with me? Hey, on That Kid of Mine Thursday today, I want to talk about help for quiet students. If you're the parent of a quiet student, you may have worried about how they're treated in the classroom. You know, your child might have a teacher who doesn't understand their quietness and lowers their grade accordingly. But you know your child is gifted and curious and smart. But some teachers are beginning to change their mind. So here's what you can do to help your child. If you have a quiet, introverted child, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm an introvert myself. And we're smart people, but we kind of like a quieter, back of the room experience. If we go to a party, we want to sit quietly on the side and observe people. We're not that outgoing, extroverted type of person. And that's not wrong, that's just who we are. And our learning experiences can be different. What they really want is they want someone who really listens to them, because they don't stand out as the most outgoing person in the room, but they still want to be validated and they still want to be heard. So you can increase your child's resilience by getting down on a level with them, looking them in the eye, making that great eye contact, and really listening to what they have to say. They'll know then that they are special and important. If they're not getting that in the classroom, which is hard for a teacher, classroom sizes are large now, they can get that at home, and that's what they need. Now, everybody has passions. Your child has a passion too, so find out what they're really interested in. Allow them to do extra things accordingly on that subject, and you'll find they'll probably open up more when they're really motivated and excited about a subject. I had a friend whose son was introverted, but as a very young boy, like many boys, he was so into dinosaurs. He was so into dinosaurs that he did research. He knew all these complicated scientific facts and words about them. And so when we happened to live pretty close to a museum that had a lot to do with dinosaurs and excavations and archaeology, and she would take him there and also take him to lectures. Now, she was not interested in those lectures, but this boy was, and it really sparked his imagination and his will and thrive to learn. And it helped him in school. And you can do the same. And all along the way, just offer that positive feedback of what they're doing. If they are passionate about something, then encourage them. Wow, that's really great. Tell me a little more about what excites you about dinosaurs. Or, maybe a little girl dreams about being a ballerina and she's into ballet. Ballet might not ever be your thing. You might be a hip hop person, but encourage her. This is what her interests are. And when you encourage her, she gets the self-esteem she needs, knowing that her purpose in life or her interests in life really have validation with her parent. Model assertiveness is another one. We introverts, sometimes we really lack assertiveness. We shouldn't be harsh or rude or abrasive or be a person who picks fights or is in fights. But we sometimes need help being assertive. We need to learn how to stand up, speak on the phone, sometimes express our viewpoints in positive ways. We have something to say and often have something to add, but we get that back of the room kind of wallflower thing, and we're a little afraid to put ourselves out there. So model assertiveness, show what assertiveness can be so that your child can learn to do that. They might need a little help with that. And the last thing in this category is just proceed gradually. Take your time. You push an introvert too far and they're going to retreat back into their hole. Just go gradually, teaching them new things, encouraging them when they show steps toward assertiveness and speaking up a little more, and allowing them to have a viewpoint. when my daughter was really small, she was so shy and such a, a real do-gooder. She hated to break the rules. Even now, sometimes, it's a rule. I don't want to get in trouble, and I didn't want her to be in trouble either. I didn't want her to be a troublemaker, but I was worried that she might not be assertive enough to stand up for herself. Even to start school, I was a little worried about that. So I gently kind of encouraged her to get more assertive. I know one time, I don't remember what happened around that, but it must have been sometime when I came upon her listening to a certain kind of music that I didn't usually play. And she turned it off quick, something like that. Because I remember just telling her, it's okay for you to like your own kind of music. You don't have to just like what I like. You can like your own things. And that was kind of a revelation to her. Because she really thought she had to be exactly like me. And I wanted her to learn to have her independence. We weren't exactly alike. And it would be uncomfortable to live in a world where you felt like you had to be like someone who was different than you. So if you think you're having a problem with your child's school, I know this in my part of the country right now, kids are just out of school, but you might be watching this at a time when kids are in school. And if your kids are out of school right now, before long they'll be back in. So if you think that your teacher misunderstands your child's introverted nature, talk to them, explain the science a little more about how children learn differently, and introverts versus extroverts doesn't really have anything to do with intelligence or what they're taking in. You might try peer teaching, because sometimes when your child, as an introvert, has a chance to teach another child, they begin to learn presentation skills just because they have to. They learn about how reaching out to someone else, finding someone else to talk to. A child teaching another child is really a powerful thing. Schedule some pauses into thinking. Just point out to your teacher that sometimes your child needs a little pause when they've been asked a question. Sometimes they need a moment to pull their thoughts together and give a thoughtful answer. That doesn't mean they're not smart, and it doesn't mean they weren't listening. It means that they really want to give you a great answer, so they're being a little thoughtful, and just make the teacher aware of that. Get moving. Moving the physical body sometimes opens up, allows you to be a little more social and so good. Get up, walk, take a walk. Encourage your child to do that on their recess if they're just kind of being off to themselves. Encourage them to get up and walk around the track or move a little bit, because sometimes just the action of putting your physical body in motion brings you out a little bit. Create a quiet space where your child can just go think and reflect, maybe just read. We introverts, we need our quiet time. We need our alone time. That was kind of hard for my very extroverted son to understand, that I didn't want to be going out somewhere every night, that I like to be home. I was a homebody, and not only just home, but I needed certain periods every week where I was just by myself, where I just had some alone time. That's how I recharged my batteries. He was very different. He was more like his father, where he recharged his batteries by being out with people and doing things. That was very tiring to me. So he had to learn to recognize my style. And if your child's an introvert, she may need a place where she can go and have quiet time. That might be her own room. Maybe she shares a room. Maybe she needs a spot, but you might have a closet that you can make into a reading nook, or just a spot in the house. Well, we used to have a house with a bay window that had a seat, and that was a nice quiet place. Even though it was close to the kitchen, you could sit and look out the window and kind of reflect. So your introvert, boy or girl, they might need a place where they can have a little alone time. To a certain extent, using social media can help an introvert or quiet student as well, teaching them to interact a little bit, although sometimes that can get out of hand. But if they can do it in a positive, supported way, you have to monitor them. That can be a help to teach them to interact and get out there a little more and be more social. Every child deserves an education where the educator and the education system meets their needs. That gets more difficult when you're in a large class in your school. So as a parent, support that. Support your child at home and with their teacher if they need an advocate. I'm not one to go in and bug the teacher a lot if things are going well, because you don't want a teacher who has a resentment and takes it out on your child. But if they need to know a little more, you certainly can offer that in a supportive way. If you're frustrated because your child's an introvert and you're the opposite, you're an extrovert, you just don't get them, you might try a little hypnosis. You know, in hypnosis, we can help you deal with the stress and frustration of family life. And on the opposite end, if your introvert child is really struggling and you feel like you haven't been able to help them as much as they need, hypnosis is great for children. I do hypnosis with children, and I see a lot of anxiety there. And the anxiety isn't necessarily caused by abuse or too much stress or helicopter parent. It's often internal stress, especially for us introverts. We're very hard on ourselves. And they put it on themselves. And sometimes you see that in a behavior. It could be nail biting. It could be, I had a client who was a skin picker, picked her skin raw. It could be a nervous habit like that. And that's just a stress reliever. So they're feeling stress, even though you can't figure out what's stressing them. Hypnosis is great to help them relieve that and change a bad habit like that. You can call me. I work in person or on webcam. My clients are all around the world. In conclusion, don't count out your quiet student. Don't count out your introverted child. That little brain is up there taking it all in and thinking about it. And they're very smart and curious. They just show it in a different way than an extrovert does. Give them what they need to be successful in life. And that's my parenting advice for today. Okay, folks, that's it for today for That Kid of Mine Thursday. Join me next Thursday for another child episode. And come back tomorrow for Fear and Phobia Friday. Yeah, I'll see you then. Until next time, this one's from me to you. Bye.